everyone, my name is Sarah, I am one half of the YA Room, and today I'm going to be showing you my August book haul. So I accumulated like a lot of books during August. I didn't really read that many books from my TBR. If you saw my last video, you will have realized that I reread a lot of books, which isn't so good, seeing as I accumulated like 457,000 books last month. So I'm just drowning in books over here. That's fine, just leave me to die. In the month of August, I accumulated 19 new books. Oh my god. I'm just gonna dissolve into a puddle of shame. Out of the 19, 13 of them was sent to me by lovely publishers and authors, so thank you so much to the publishers and the authors that keep me from spending all of my money on books. Like 99% of my money is spent on books, but like the 1% is all thanks to the publishers, so I can go to Starbucks and spend my remaining money on coffee. But I'm really excited about all the books I received during August. I'm so excited to get to the majority of them. I've only read like 5 of them and I'm currently reading a couple of them. So it's all very exciting, like new books equal excitement. When am I not screaming about books? So yes, let's dive into it. The first book I received from a publisher is Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. I'm sure you've all heard of his new book. It is coming out soon. This is an ARC copy and I'm just like so excited to read it. I've only ever read one book by Marcus, which was of course The Book Thief, the book that everyone has read, let's be real. I really enjoyed that one and I saw so much hype surrounding Bridge of Clay, so I'm like, yeah, I'll pick that up. And oh my god, like she's so thick. I don't really know anything about this book. I don't know if it's even YA. I don't read blurbs. I'm like famously known for not reading blurbs. That's a lie. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm excited to read it. Apparently it has like a young boy protagonist and he's sitting on a roof on one of the covers. That's something I know. So we'll find out what it's about. Next up, I received Stuck on Vacation with Ryan Rupert from the author herself, P.S. Malcolm. I actually got around to reading this book last month, which I was super proud of. I was just like in a cute, fluffy mood, and I'm like, yes, I'll pick up Stuck on Vacation, and it was definitely the book that I hoped it would be. Stuck on Vacation with Ryan Rupert is about a girl whose mother has cancer, and her family has to go away for the treatment during summer, but she is forced to stay at home and be like taken care of by her next door neighbors, one of which is Ryan Rupert, her next door neighbor's son, and like they hate one another and then they have to go on vacation together, and it's like the hate to love trope, but it's so good and I just will never stop screaming about this book, because if you're looking for a light, cute, fluffy contemporary read, this is your book. Next up, I received A Winter's Promise, which is a new fantasy series. This is the first book in the series. Oh my god, I'm just like in love with that cover. I haven't had the chance to really start it. I read 50 pages, but I wasn't really in the mood for fantasy. The 50 pages I read of it so far, I really enjoyed. It kind of gave me a Darker Shade of Magic vibes, so I'm really excited to continue it. But yeah, I'm excited. Anything that reminds me of a Darker Shade of Magic is a good book in my eyes. The next book I received in August is Catching Teller Crow, which is a new Love Oz YA novel. I am so excited to read this book. I've been dying to get my hands on a copy ever since it was announced, and finally it's here. It's sitting on my TBR pile and I'm just like waiting until the perfect moment that I can sit down and devour it in one go. We've been talking about thick books, but this one is a really quick read. It's only got like 197 pages, so this is definitely gonna be like a one sitting book. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Apparently it's like a little bit crimey and has a detective in it and it's set in Australia. All good things. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. And then I received It Ends With You by S.K. Wright. Finally, another book that I managed to read during August. Well done past me. It Ends With You is like a mystery thriller kind of novel set in high school where a girl is found dead and everyone starts pointing fingers at everyone. It's like not that unique, like we've all seen that kind of story before, but it was like interesting. There was just a lot of characters to read about and I'm like, who's who, what's going on? It was like alright. I hadn't read a thriller in ages and this one like drew me in with the plot and everything. It was alright. It was like a 3-star read. I also received The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken. Yes, I read it. I read it like at the very end of August, like start of September, so I didn't mention this one in my wrap up. But in case you don't know, this is like the long-awaited book in the Darkest Minds trilogy. It's the 4th book, but it's set around this character called Zoo, who I'd like forgotten everything about until I like watched a recap of the series and then saw the movie. And even though like I enjoyed this book, I felt like I would have loved it more if I read it immediately after reading or rereading the original trilogy, because I had forgotten so much about all these characters, and I was like reading about these characters and I'm like, are you new, or like am I meant to have remembered you from the previous trilogy? So that aspect was a little bit confusing, but of course I love reading about kids with powers, so that was really exciting. And Zoo was one of my favorite characters of the original trilogy, so it was great to read from her perspective. Another book I received during August and also read was The Finder by Kate Hendrick. This is another Love Oz YA novel about 2 teens who are like semi-good at finding people, and they have to stick together and find people. I talked about it in my previous video, just go watch that. But yeah, it was like a fun read. I read it really quickly. I read this one in like one sitting. Cool characters, cool setting. Yeah, it was good. Last month I also got and read The Universe is Expanding and So Am I by Carolyn Mackler. This is the 2nd book in the duology, The Earth, My Butt and Other Big Round Things. Talk about long titles, oh my god. But yeah, I really enjoyed this novel. It was a fun contemporary read, but it did have some darker themes, like talking about rape and the importance of like body positivity and stuff. So it was really good to like read about those themes in conjunction with the protagonist's like amazing voice. She was just so funny, and yeah, this duology was like such a fun read. Next up, I received This Awesome Trilogy by Jane Caro. It is about Queen Elizabeth. It's a historical fiction series, and I'm really excited to get to it. You all know I love the royals. I'm like royal trash. As you can see, I've got various like art prints from England around my room. So I'm really excited to read this trilogy. Hopefully it lives up to my expectations, but nevertheless, it looks like a really fun read. I also received Inside the Tiger by Haley Lawrence, another Love Oz YA novel. Inside the Tiger is a book I have read. I really enjoyed it. It's about this girl who starts writing to a prisoner who's in like an overseas prison and on death row, and they form a really close connection. It's about the morality of the death sentence and what the effect that someone dying does to the people left behind. It was like a really touching, poignant book, and I just like cannot recommend this one highly enough. Next up, I also received What the Woods Keep, which is another book I'm so excited to read. Oh my gosh. I am just in love with this cover. I don't know too much about it. I'm like 20 pages into it currently, and I'm really loving the start. But basically, all I know about this book is that it's kind of about this girl who gets an inheritance and something about the woods, and I feel like it's gonna be like a mystery thriller kind of book. But so far, I'm very intrigued, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And the last book I received from a lovely publisher in the month of August was Mirage, which also happens to be our September book of the month. I'm really excited to read Mirage. I don't know anything about it except for the fact that it's fantasy. I am so intrigued. As you can see, this is the gorgeous art cover, and this is the finished cover. It is so beautiful. I love that turquoise cover, and I'm really excited to read it this month. Now it is time to show you all the books that I bought myself this month. I didn't really buy too many books, so I'm pretty proud of myself, but it was like in the last week of August that I bought the majority of these books. So I did really well on my book buying plan, and then I just kind of fell over into Dimmicks and bought all of these books. The first book I have here is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, which is like a dark, gruesome anthology written by a bunch of these authors. This one had been on my radar for a little while because some of my favorite authors have contributed to it, but I never really got the chance to pick up a copy, and then I saw it at a cheap secondhand book sale, and I'm like, yes, I will buy it, thank you. Slasher Girls and Monster Boys is a horror thriller YA anthology. I'm just so excited to get to it. We all know that I love the darker kind of books, and so an anthology all about the gruesome side of YA sounds like my cup of tea. Speaking of anthologies, I also picked up a copy of All Out, which is an anthology all about queer teens throughout the ages. I I did actually pre-order an ebook version of this novel way back when it was released, like 8 months ago, you know, last century. But I never really got a chance to read it because I always just impulse buy ebooks and then never look at my device, and I'm like, what was the point of spending $9.99 on that ebook? But then I saw this one at a cheap secondhand sale as well, and I'm like, yes, I'll spend another $3, add it to my physical TBR, and then maybe, just maybe, I will read it. Of course I'll read it. I'm really excited to read this book. Speaking of anthologies, I picked up another one! I also grabbed a copy of Toil and Trouble, which is 15 short stories about witches and witchiness and being a witch, and it's so cool. I am currently about halfway through reading this book and I am loving it so far. It is like the perfect Halloween read. If you enjoy spooky stuff and witches, then you should definitely pick up this book. No more anthologies, I promise. The next book I picked up in the month of August was Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. I have been dying to get my hands on a copy of this book ever since I saw it being recommended by Emma Books on YouTube. She is a massive fan of Heretics Anonymous, and after reading this one, I can definitely say the same for me. Heretics Anonymous is a book about a boy who is an atheist and he is forced to go to Catholic school. He doesn't feel like he fits in there until he finds a group of people called Heretics Anonymous who don't fit in themselves, and this book is basically about the friendship that they form and the relationship that he has with one of its members, and it is such a perfect novel. I have like so much love for it. Definitely recommend picking up a copy if you can. The second to last book I picked up in the month of August was Song of the Current. I decided to pick this one up because I saw it at a secondhand book sale, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen that around. I think a couple people that I know really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to get to it. I've heard Song of the Current is a fantasy novel, so I'll be interested to see what I think of it, but it was cheap and it's got a pretty cover, so I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. And last but not least, in the month of August, I also bought a copy of The Circle, which has a beautiful fluorescent cover. One of my friends recommended The Circle to me about a year ago, and I've always wanted to pick it up, but I never saw a copy anywhere. And then this one was also cheap. Yes! So I decided to pick up a copy. From what I've gathered about this book is that it's about a woman who starts working at a new company, and it appears to be really cool and like everything she's ever dreamed of, but then she discovers a more like sinister side to this business. I'm really excited to see where this story takes me, and yeah, I don't know, I'm excited to pick it up. It's also a thick one, so maybe I'll like take it on vacation with me. But yeah, we'll see. I'll share my thoughts with you when I'm done. Oh, there goes a book. Okay, I'm gonna put these books down now. You saw them. You saw all the books I got. I don't need to do this. But yes, those are all the books that I bought and received in the month of August. I'm really excited to read all the ones I haven't read yet. If you spotted any of your favorites or ones that are on your TBR, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear what you're planning on reading and what you think of my haul. But that is it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and I will see you soon. Bye everyone!